Yo, what it do, y'all? We back at it again. First and foremost, you know where we at, man. It's the Hush Boutique. It's the location. It's the family. You know what I mean? It's the movement. And today, man, I'm just doing what I do. I'm sitting with the culture, but I'm sitting with a very special guest with me today. She's a part of the culture. She's moving the culture. She's active in the culture, but not just the culture, but also in the community in the surrounding Bergen County areas. Listen, it's the one and only infamous Miss Brandi. Welcome to the roundtable, sweetie. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
So
thank you,
much for
thank
having
you.
me.
Yo, listen, first of all, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
everything that you're doing. Like, you know, not just, I'm gonna say, you know, I see you moving globally. I'm gonna keep it real.
All right,
You know what I mean?
I receive it.
You know what I mean? I see you moving globally, and it's a blessing to see somebody with a fresh face, fresh energy, but with a glow with it that's passionate. Sometimes you just see somebody that's chasing a situation, but not really chasing the passion that's behind it. And I've been watching you, you've been doing your thing, working with the kids, working in the community, you being a black college graduate, you know what I'm saying? You being an author, you just being somebody that's fearless. Where did it all start from, Miss B?
Wow. Where did it start from? So it actually started in 2018.
Okay.
But I'll take it back. So I was baptized in 2017.
Okay.
And then March of 2017, and then November 2017, my minister gave me a prophetic word saying that he saw me writing books, hosting different events, working with women, going back to school, doing all these things. So I was excited, like, okay, I had never received like a prophetic word, someone speaking over my life
dope.
like that. And so I remember I went to Walmart, I got a notebook, and I just started like writing. And so I would call them conversations. And so I remember in 2018, I was like, all right, God, I want you to use me. I just wanted to get deeper in my relationship with God. And at that time, I thought it meant that I was going to continue to just post like inspirational things on Facebook. Yeah, no, that's not what happened. He was like, I was in a relationship at the time. So he separated us. Really, God just had me isolated into myself and really just like getting grounded and rooted in God. So I'm just writing. So you and I could have had a conversation and I would have written about that.
Right, okay.
And so in the meantime, as I'm doing that, I'm writing this book. And one of my good friends was saying that, there's too much of God in me to do something so small. I wanted to just write a devotional for someone else's website.
Okay.
And she's like, well, why don't you just start your own devotional website so that when your book comes out, you'll already have a following.
Okay.
And so I needed a name. So I was like, okay, I was reading a devotional and it was called Prayer Invades the Impossible. And I was like, oh, okay, pray the impossible. And then I would just use those conversations. And then another friend of mine was saying, well, since you have a devotional, why don't you make it 30 days? And I had 37 conversations at that time. So I was like, okay, I'll take the first 7, put that on the website. And then the 30, that's going to be the book, Real Talk, A Conversation from My Heart to Yours. I launched June 5th, 2018, and I just took off. And my first book, Real Talk, A Conversation from My Heart to Yours, it's a 30-day devotional that was published in September of 2018.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how I got started.
It's funny, you just dived right in and talked about something that's very key to my heart, the Lord. You know what I mean? Spirituality, a lot of people think because once you get involved with that, you got to step away from who you are. Really talking to you now, hearing you talk about it, you understood your relationship with your Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
I could still be me and worship my Lord and Savior.
Listen.
People get that confused because we get beat in the head. Go to church. You got to do this. You got to do this. So I admire that about a woman because that shows her leadership right there. God is leading her. So whatever she's striving to do is God's purpose. But dealing with the reality of growing up in life and tossing and turning, what made you get baptized?
So I started going to church 10 years prior, so in 2007. Okay. So I didn't grow up going to church. So I would go here and there. I remember when I was younger, my mom would make me go to vacation Bible school for like a week, but it was never like we were going to church every Sunday. Then I remember when I graduated high school, I went to college. My friends were going to church. And, I was like, okay, well, let me go. And I remember going and not connecting. I would not understand what the message was. I couldn't connect with the pastor. And then even when I would come home from school, my father, we would go on church dates. And I'm just like, okay, it's long. It's about 4 hours. Like, it just was not hitting. Then in 2007, my best friend, she invited me to her church. She was like, you can wear jeans. It's an hour. Church starts at 12. And I was like,
It's a
all right,
different
cool.
format. It's a
Different format. And I was like, okay, cool. Went to church, and I tell you, I never left. My brother started coming, my mother started coming, and then I would tell people, and they just started coming. It's a very small church. It's called the House of the Lord Church. It's in Bergen County in Inglewood. My pastor is Dr. Reverend Donique Daughtry. Amazing. Young at that, well, you know, she's still young, but
Right.
younger at the time. And she was straight, no chaser. Like, she gave it to you like it was. Like, she knew if I went out on a Saturday night, she was like, all right, daughter, you made it to church.
Right.
So there was no judgment. I was still able to be me. And that's how, you know, I just started to build my relationship with God, going to church and getting rooted on my own, not because someone told me to have a relationship with God. And I didn't understand until when I was going through my transformation in 2018 that it's about a relationship, not a religion, right? Because they say go to church, go to church, go to
Come
church.
on, man.
And you could go to church, and like me earlier, I didn't understand. I wasn't connecting. So it wasn't until like God separated me and isolated me where I had to form a relationship with God and know God for myself.
It's funny you said that because I'm an individual that grew up in the church, and my parents were the head deacons, and you know we had church, and church came to our house because we had 2 services on Sunday. But I was the oddball. I was the kid, regardless of who my parents were.
Yeah.
And I think because I respect them for this, they still allow me to be me. The thing was, you still whatever you doing,
Right.
you're gonna go to church on Sunday. You're gonna come as is,
Right.
because their mind wasn't like that. And the other kids, it's funny you said that, were like, yo, your parents let you dress like that? I was like, yo, what you mean? I'm here at church. So
Right.
it's funny how you can get caught up in the church and not understand your relationship with God.
Yeah.
Now, you get this revelation. He graces you. Where you at mentally now? Because now when that transformation, it's that thing comes out of you and it derails everything.
It does. It really does. Like, I'm laughing because even still to this day, like, I am the life of the party. Like, my
Right.
energy, like, you know, I used to call myself the turn up queen. Like, people would see me out, I'm turning up. And when I became Pray the Impossible, right? Now it was my close circle knew who I was. They knew I would party and go to church. But now I'm sitting here talking about God on social media. So it was a struggle for me mentally because my alter ego is B Diva. And so I'm like, how am I B Diva and Pray the Impossible? Like, it was just an internal battle and struggle that I was having because I thought people were going to judge me because now you're talking
How you
about
preaching
God.
about God, but you sitting here acting ignorant, or in their eyes
Right,
they think
right.
that. You know what I mean? Because
Exactly.
you're talking about one thing and you
Exactly.
right.
But then after just having conversations and just sitting with myself, and I'm like, but that's who God wants me to reach. Those are the people that I'm supposed to talk to. Those are the people that I'm supposed to reach that. And I used to say that you could still turn up and love God at the same time. And God will put me in places and spaces where people would not want to go, right? So like happy hour. I'm at happy hour selling books. I'm at a day party selling books. I'm at happy hour at the bar having a drink talking about God. And that's when I realized that more people were drawn to me because I'm being authentic, I'm being real and transparent. No, I'm not perfect. No, you know, I still fall short every single day, but I love God and God allows me to go to these places. He refined me a bit.
I mean, you definitely gotta you pull back a little bit. You know what I mean? I get it.
He
You know what I mean?
refined me a bit, but I can still go to those spaces
And be comfortable.
and God can allow me to have a drink and not get drunk, right? Because
Well, he turned the water into wine. Let's be clear.
Hello.
That was his very first
miracle. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So to my point is like you can still do certain things in moderation, right? So but I knew from when I first started this journey, something in my spirit was just like, I don't want to be in the church preaching. I want to be outside, like with the
But
people.
that's what Jesus was, though.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, and for those, we just building. We just honestly just building right now because I think it's needed, though, sometimes. Let people get an understanding. Jesus was outside.
He was with the prostitutes. He was
With every knucklehead in the building. So at the end of the day, you know, it's crazy because people don't want to come to church, but it's like, yo, you supposed to come to church wounded. It's the place. It's the spiritual hospital.
Exactly.
You know what I
But
mean?
people think because it's church and you put it on this pedestal that you have to be perfect to go.
I think that's the old school version now. I think
yeah.
that right
That
now
was back in the day.
Yeah, that was the era when I was going to church because it always was the pastor, everything is the pastor. Who are we worshiping? The pastor, we worship Christ.
Right.
So I watched my mother and father kind of draw back from like, hold up. And I'm talking about we was a part of the congregation, RLCC, up in Nanuet, New York.
Oh, okay.
This was in the early 90s. Yo, this was when I first seen a mega church.
Okay.
My parents were the head deacons of this mega church, and it's like maybe 3,000 people in there. And I'm like, yo, my dad started pulling away. He wound up leaving to go to a smaller because you can touch the people. When you get all these people after a while, it becomes too much of a fanfare and a show. Yeah. Our era right now, it's more of it's bringing us in, and it's bringing us away we're comfortable.
Exactly.
So with your spiritual journey, this growth, did you find like people started to push away though?
Honestly, no. I had more people draw closer to me because it was so real and so authentic. So like I said, my company started off as a devotional website. So every week, every Tuesday, I would call it Tuesday Gems. And every conversation I had, it was a real conversation. So we would have different topics and I'm writing about it and I'm giving people an inspiration and hope at the end. So people are reading that like, yo, that really hit home. Like, wow, like this happened. Oh, or you was able to do this. So I found people being more comfortable to come talk to me. What I did find is some people who couldn't understand that God is doing something new and in me and through me, that some people would just try to label me and put me in a box. So instead of saying like, oh, Brandi, I see you, writing more books or something. They was like, oh, you're going to be a preacher. You're going to have your own church. I'm like, that's not necessarily my calling. And I found people kept trying to put that label on me. And that just made me so uncomfortable because I'm sitting here trying to fight to tell you like, this is not what God is doing in my life. But you are so small-minded that you could only associate if you're talking with God and coming out on social media or in public talking about God. That's associated with being in church, a minister, a preacher, and I'm
evangelist,
like,
so forth and so
forth.
And really, I'm like, just a child of God.
Exactly. And that's what my battle was. So that's the only thing when it came to not people pushing me away, but people were trying to put me in this box.
Right. And it's funny because it happens so many in different ways. And those people that always try to put you in a box, really, they don't understand your personal relationship.
Right.
Because it starts with a personal relationship. It's like you have one with your friend, your girlfriend, your man, your sister. It's personal with me. You know what I mean? And I feel like in all reality, we're all disciples of Christ. Each one has his own calling. We all are out here walking by faith.
Absolutely.
You're walking on water. Remember when Jesus told him, think about it. And I'm going to give you a scenario. We all walking on water. He said, when he told homeboy to get out the boat, come to me. Don't look down. That's the same thing kids do when they're babies. They crawl, they run to their and they don't look down. That's it. That's what we do every day.
Every day.
In faith. So now you're growing. Books are flourishing. How do you maintain the mind state to stay consistent without letting it overwhelm you? Because sometimes doing this Christian lifestyle, it can get a little overwhelming and we get lost in it.
I just knew that I had a purpose and I was literally like on fire. So I just kept coming up with other ideas or my friend who was also my photographer, he would just plant seeds like, I see you doing this, I see you doing this. And I'll never forget, he said, Brandi, you are the bridge you are the one that's bridging the gap between people who look like you and people who are trying to get to where you're going. And so I just remembered that he would always say like, you're the bridge. And so I just knew that I just had to keep going. Everybody would always say, just keep going.
Did you feel pressure though?
Sometimes I did feel pressure, but I would just be in my own little silo, just be isolated and would just go to work. And I think I was just turning pain or my tests and my trials into something purposeful. So I just had this drive and this fire just to keep going.
Right. Now you going to school, going to college, you went to Virginia State. Back then, you said you had friends going to college that was going to church. You didn't really see that too much.
No.
Do you feel like in your journey that played a pivotal point in your life as well? In school, because when you're in college, a lot of kids are not going to church in college. Let's be honest. In Virginia Union, you're not, we away from home.
Right.
No one to really be on your back, because church is more like, get up, you got to get up and go.
Yeah, I remember. I think it did play a part, because our life is a journey. So it was on the journey. It was continuously planting that seed until I got to where I was supposed to be in 2007. Because just not having that understanding of like, okay, what is the message? I'm not connecting with the preacher. I'm more worried about like, okay, this is like 4 hours. I was not spiritually mature enough to understand. But now, or not now, but later on, I recognized that was a part of
the growth
and the journey. And what does it say? Train up a child in the way they should go and they'll never depart. So I was being trained up in that moment, not knowing eventually I would get to.
You was basically being a prodigal daughter, coming back home. And, I respect the fact that you didn't allow that situation to derail you not to even get involved with religion. Because I knew someone that we used to go to church together and they was like, I'm not getting nothing out of it. And they was like, it kind of led them to another religion. And sometimes that's spiritual warfare. So when they got led to the other religion, I said, well, why'd you do that? They said, well, I really couldn't get what I wanted out of that. I said, well, did you ever ask yourself what you're looking for?
Right.
She said, well, let me ask. And she was a young lady. She said to me, well, what do you get when you go to church? I said, I'm going to tell you something that I do. Before I walk into church, I say, thank you, Lord, for the message that I'm going to receive for me. It could be the first 20 minutes of the message. It could be 5 minutes, in the middle of it could be the end of the message. As long as I'm receiving what's needed for me, that took me to my next level. And it kind of opened up her mind then, like, okay, you got to find out what you want to do. It's like a relationship. I tell you, it's basically like a relationship that you're dating someone. You're not going to date somebody you're not interested in.
Exactly. And writing my second book, like, I really had to sit down and write down, who is God? Like, he's kind, he's loving. Like, I had to start to think about his characteristics. And that's how you, to your point, that's how you start to form that relationship. Like, has he ever shown you anything other than this? And I'm like, no, like, God continues to show up, continues to favor me, continue to anoint me, continues to open up doors and make a way. And then I'm just like drawn to that. So to your point, like, you had to figure out what was for you, but you only know once you sit down, reflect, and spend time in that presence and in that space.
It's funny that you said that word, sit down, because people don't realize how important sitting down with Christ is. You know what I mean? Like, really getting the opportunity to sit down with Christ and let him work in you is priceless. You know what I'm saying? These books are out. You're on your second run. Life is changing. You ever thought about honestly doing like videos?
I used to. I used to. So that's what I'm saying. Like, in the beginning, I was on fire and had so much going on. I used to do, they were called Heart to Hearts.
Oh.
And they were IG Live videos. And I did that from 2019 to 2021, every Thursday. So I would come up with a message, a title, and then I would drop gems. So I call them God-enthused messages spoken from my heart. So that's what gems stood for.
And you was doing it during the pandemic too. That's a hell of a time to be done.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a movement.
So I started in 2019. Like, that was the next thing I wanted. Not to be on YouTube, but just to do like videos. Started that, and then the following got crazy. I had a lot of people like engaging until the point where I had women. They were like, Brandi, we need something more intimate. So I took it off of Instagram and started a Zoom meeting. And so we would meet every Thursday on Zoom, and I turned that into a membership. So I had maybe about like 10 women every Thursday. We would pour into each other. We would celebrate each other's wins. if someone was going through some type of test trial or loss, we were there to love on each other, pour into each other. And so I continued with that same format, but we just made it more intimate for those who wanted that extra layer of, encouragement.
Right, right. That's a blessing because people fail to realize everybody's looking for somebody to really share with.
Yeah.
They're just a little nervous because they don't know the backlash or the nonsense. Because look at the society we live in. People smile in your face and throw you under the bus in less than 20 seconds.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that it keeps people in a box where they don't want to be able to say, listen, I'm struggling in this department. Can you direct me or can you show me? So I admire that. I didn't even know you were doing that. That's blessings to you.
Yeah.
You might need to restart doing that. You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, we need more of that now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But let's grab a point that I've been thinking about for a minute, man. I see you running around here with the schools.
Yeah.
Dealing with the youth.
Yeah.
Now, you also bringing that to the table as well? Or you kind of just...
No, that's on the table.
Thank you.
Wow, when did that start? 2023. So the ending of 23, I had another idea and I was like, I want to get into the school systems. So prior to that, backtrack. So I'm a certified life, spiritual, and grief coach. So during COVID,
hold up.
yes. He's like, say that again.
Right.
Say that again.
Look at this.
I am a certified life coach, a certified spiritual coach, and a certified grief coach. And so I'll take it back even further. When I launched Pray the Impossible in 2018, two friends, when they got the email blast, they was like, I need you to be my spiritual advisor. And I was like, I don't even know what that is. But they just wanted someone to advise them spiritually on their journey. So I was like, I don't want to be called a spiritual advisor. I was like, I need something like unique, something that is Brandi. So I termed it spiritual friend-visor. And a spiritual friend-visor is a friend who gives advice based on godly wisdom. So the ending of 2019, I said, you know what? So that I can become certified and so that I can become more, credible.
Right.
I was like, well, let me find a program. And I found this program. So during COVID, they had a certified life and spiritual coaching program. And so got certified. And then I started my company, well, the coaching leg of it, the ending of August of 2020. And then when my father passed in 2021, my business coach was saying, well, I think you should be a grief coach. And I'm like, I've never even heard of a grief coach.
I'm a little, right.
Yeah, so we'll get to that.
Right.
So
that's a little nervous on my end.
Yeah, grief coach. And I was like, it made sense because when my father passed, literally about 5 people, I can say, had lost their parents right after me. And I'm pouring into them. And it was therapeutic for me. And I'm sitting here trying to help them navigate through that space. And I'm like, look, I'm new to this, but God just kept sending people my way that year to pour into them. And so now fast forward back to 2023, I was sitting down and I was saying, I need to get into the school systems. Like, I want to get into the school system. So my line sister's husband, he had a network within the school system where he does inspirational speaking. And so I reached out to him to kind of pick his brain. An opportunity presented itself. He reached out to me. So then, because Pray the Impossible can be so touchy with schools, I changed the
That's why I asked.
Yep, I changed the program to Navigate the Impossible.
Makes sense.
So I was able to get in through Navigate the Impossible. And I wasn't saying God, but I was saying hope, faith.
Switching words. You're playing with words. You're playing with words.
And it's still the same thing.
Exactly.
And so I had a speaking engagement down in Atlanta with a group of girls, and I posted that video on social media. And another sorority sister of mine who works at a group home, she seen me. She's like, I need you to come talk to my girls. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I put together a curriculum, and I've been there for over a year.
Wow.
And so I'm at one site in Hackensack, and then I'm at another site in Newark.
It's funny how life can take you so many different routes.
So many different routes. So many.
Like when you first mentioned the whole thing about the grief coach, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't think I really want to deal with a grief coach.
Yeah.
But honestly, when I listening and thinking, you're a woman of God. And it's funny because I was listening to a message yesterday from a brother. He said, yo, sometimes we block our own blessings because the person that's trying to give it to you, you got a fake beef with. Like you could be losing out on your biggest blessing because that person over there, just over some petty nonsense, like let's be honest, very petty nonsense, that could be your blessing waiting. And you so caught up in the ego and the pride, you're not letting God in. You're not allowing other people to minister to you. Because, I ain't going to have that person. Who is she to tell me what she's really, that's the Spirit of God moving through you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Congratulations on getting in with the schools.
Yeah,
Yo, shout out. Yo, I just spoke to you off camera. You using the Spanish school. you dealing like, come on, you besides traveling the globe, now you're talking to
kids in
let's
Spanish.
Talk about that.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Thank you. So
that's big to see a black woman talking to another group of individuals.
Yes. So I was in a Latin community, Hispanic community.
Shout out to them.
Right. And so shout out to my network. I know y'all keep hearing me talk about my sorority sister. Yeah, my line sisters is multiple. They tag me in whenever. So she's the principal of this school, and they were having career day. So I went last year, and then they brought me back this year. So I spoke to about maybe 7 classrooms. So it's broken down into, there's English, then there's bilingual, then there's all Spanish. So my last class was all Spanish. So the student ambassador, who is also Hispanic, she's like, looking at the schedule, she's like, I wonder why they put you in this class. You don't speak Spanish, right? I'm like, no, I don't speak Spanish. So she's like, well, they have you here. And I'm like, okay, let's see how this works. Go into the classroom, and the teacher was my translator.
Okay.
And so I was sitting there trying to remember some Spanish, and it was funny. And it just didn't work out with me speaking Spanish. So I was like, all right, thank you for the translator. But it was amazing. And one of the students, when the teacher was translating that I'm an author, her eyes lit up. Her eyes lit up. And so at the end of the workshop, she was asking me questions in Spanish, and the teacher was translating. So I was able to guide her, encourage her, and to tell her to just, how I started to write. And this was a 7th grader.
Now, how iconic is that? You're in a Spanish-speaking classroom, translating to a young lady about basically life.
Yeah.
You planted a seed in that young lady. You do know that. Like,
it's crazy.
You don't, like you said, like when we talk about, you don't see it.
I don't see it,
But when you think about it, you're doing this in Spanish with an interpreter. Like, come on. Like, that's a little different.
That is.
Like, we can brag differently. It's not always about the materialistic things of life. And that's what, you know what I mean? That's why I'm so happy to learn all this, because I need the culture to understand it's not about this big materialistic showboat. It's the lives and the people that you're touching, because you don't know what's going to happen 10 years down the line from that.
I don't. And
with her.
Exactly. So my tagline and my motto is impacting lives one conversation at a time. Like, that has been my motto. That is still my motto, because my background is in marketing communications and mass communication. So communicating, having conversations with people, like, that's wealth. That's abundance. That's all of these things. That's wisdom. That's knowledge. And I feel like if I can continue to just have conversations, whether it's doing an interview, speaking to a class, or, speaking at some type of an event, just having that conversation, like, lives are being impacted. And I think I know that's my purpose here.
That's very fruitful, though. That's very fruitful, and that's heavy, because the importance of just being a part of something to make a change is a lot. And honestly, kids, youth, adults, we all need to pour into each other. We got to get off this whole mind state of what I got or what I'm chasing. I learned recently, and I'm a brother that's been involved with the Lord since I was a kid, but it's sort of like you. As time, you just gotta have your own relationship.
Yep, exactly.
me being 50 years old, kids are growing, grandkids, I had a conversation with myself like, yo, listen, man, Lord, I need you. It's not my will anymore. I need you to direct me. And I had this conversation about a year ago. Like, I need everything I'm doing now, I want to do in your purpose.
Yeah.
And I know it's my purpose because my son's mother used to watch me read the word. And this is like 20 years ago. I have a devotion I do every morning. Actually, my mother gave me the Bible from 1986, and she wrote in it, and I still read the words that she wrote. Yo, I can't even, I know the words so much.
Right.
But she said, yo, how you going outside to sell crack, but you reading the word of God? I said, because this crack shit don't define me. I'm a child of God. I know what I'm doing. I'm not, her thing was, you playing with God. I said, nah, I'm really not. I said, but I can understand it.
Right.
So I'm not going to act like you just talking nonsense.
Right.
Because if you don't know what you don't know, you won't like outside looking in. And yo, it's funny. Last year, she said to me, yo, I understood now. I understand. Yo, we were talking about the kids. She's like, you know, I want to tell you something. Because she got into the word. She was like, yo, you the reason. I saw you do that when you'll go outside and go hustle all day. But before you went, every morning, you were devoted to doing that. So I say this to say, when you're passionate about something, nothing can stop you.
Yeah.
You were supposed to be in that Spanish room to touch that young lady's life.
Yeah.
All it needs is one.
All it needs is one. Yeah, and not funny, but in alignment. So my second book is called My Way or God's Will, The Choice Is Yours. And that's about my journey of how I started Pray the Impossible. So I'm writing about all the things that I was going through during that journey. And it was a struggle. Like, that's not what I wanted. I'm like, at that time I was 33. My friends were either getting married or having kids. And I'm like, well, one of the two is going to happen. And God was like, yeah, no, you're going to have kids, but you're going to have this book.
That's your child. These are your babies.
You're going to get married, but you're going to get married to me.
Right. And I'm going to take you to the altar, to the man that you know what I mean? You just basically put listen, it's your journey. It's not mine.
Yeah, and that was tough. That was tough because you're trying to do things, or you make plans according to, by this age I'm gonna have this, by this age I'm gonna do that. And to the point when I got baptized, I remembered, like, you asked God to use you. He's not gonna tell you what it looks like. But I gave him my yes, and my yes was, we taking this away from you, we taking this away from you, you gotta walk on this path. And it was a struggle because I couldn't articulate to my friends or to people in my life, like, the journey that I was on. Like, I literally had to walk this journey by myself. And it wasn't until after I got out on the other side where I started to have friends go through it. They said, oh, I understand now. I'm like, yeah, sometimes you got to walk. Everybody can't go with you on that journey.
They're not supposed to.
And they're not supposed to.
You know, and the hardest part about the journey, sometimes you feel like you're alone.
Yes.
You literally feel like you're alone. But I'm going to be honest with you. I learned this. Just by reading the word, listening to the word, you're never alone.
No.
He's with you the whole time. Yo, God is with you even when we stray off. Yo, go ahead. Yep. You want to stray? All right, champ. You'll be back.
You'll be back every single time.
You'll be back. So at the end of the day is you know what I mean? We don't know. And I think that's the thing that we get caught up in. But now I'm learning more and more is I'd rather deal with the unseen.
That's where I'm at in my life now. My word or theme for the year is living by faith. Big dog, big homie, it's your... I'm giving you the keys to the driver's seat, and I'm going to sit here, be the passenger seat princess, and just continue to walk by faith and live by faith. So
it gets scary, though.
It does.
Because you start to question certain things.
It does get scary.
Like, hold up, what's going on?
It does, but then I'm also in a different mindset where I was there, and now I'm like, back to my way or God's will, the choice is yours. It's like I can make plans, and God, if I keep getting a roadblock, that ain't it. So I'm not gonna question you in that way, like how I once did. Like, I just had to get peace, and no matter what's going on around me, I know God's got me.
How important is peace for you?
Peace is I need peace. What? It wasn't until this year I read this book called The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. Changed my whole life. Put people on block, set boundaries, protecting my peace. That person's chaos is not my priority. Your chaos is not my priority.
And I'm not going to wear it.
And I'm not responsible for I'm not going to wear it. I'm not responsible for that chaos. Like, my peace is so important. Like, I need it. I have to have it. I can't compromise my peace for nobody. Mm-mm.
I tell you, boy, people don't really understand the importance of, sometimes, I'm going to be honest, the importance of peace is worth more than a dollar bill.
It is. Because there's people who are billionaires who wish they had peace, and someone who's making $20,000 a year.
It's more comfortable, more at ease.
Yeah.
It's healthier for you. You know what I mean? You can able to help other people. Mm-hmm. Like somebody said this, I heard somebody say, yo, you can't, it's like the blind leading the blind. I said, yo, you can't help somebody and you bandaged up. Mm-hmm. All I can tell you is like, yo, right now, I'm not in that space to help you. Mm-hmm. That's what I've learned to do. Mm-hmm. Yo, I'm not in that space to help right now, Chief. I'm kind of over here, and I don't want to mix these pots up. Mm-hmm. Because when you're cooking for yourself, sometimes the enemy will try to take you out your kitchen to go to somebody else's kitchen. That's a mess. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Then now you forgot about your meal. So now you going to something else. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about the other side of Brandi.
All right.
Worldwide B. Traveling. You do a lot of it.
Yes.
How refreshing is that for you?
That is my self-care. Travel, fun, sun, pool bar, tan. Resetting. But most importantly, I get to be Brandi. I'm not Pray the Impossible. I'm not life coach. I have no responsibilities when I'm traveling. I get to be me, be diva. I get to be myself and not have to worry about, okay, I got to encourage this person on today, or those responsibilities and roles and those many hats that I wear. So vacation is a must. It's a must.
Yeah, and I like to see that you're moving around and you're catching the content of it all. You know what I mean? It's dope because, but you know, I'll be honest, the content that you're giving is basically, it's a breath of fresh air. It's not the normal hype that we constantly keep seeing, because it's also showing a woman with another side, but a woman that's also, I'm on my downtime. I'm on my relax time. Yes. I'm being Brandi. Yes. This is the other side of me. I'm enjoying life. I'm enjoying the fruits of my labor.
Exactly.
That God has given me. Exactly. What inspired you to travel the way you travel?
Shout out to my aunt. Love her, Auntie Lisa. She took me and my cousins, I had to be maybe 18, 19, to Miami. And after that, I was like, oh, this I got a taste of Miami. I forgot what year. That was like, early 2000s. Went to Miami and just loved the experience. And then after that, I went back to Miami, I think when I was like 23 for my birthday. And I was like, every year, God willing, I will travel for my birthday.
Right.
And it became a thing. So I started traveling for my birthday, would have a group of friends, and now they branched out and wanted to travel for their birthday as well, and it just became a whole thing. So that's how I started traveling.
It's dope, you know what I mean? I admire it, you know what I mean? And it's good that you're doing that, because you're also coming back to these youth and letting them know it's more to life than just your community.
Absolutely.
And you can show them that.
And not even the youth. My peers, like.
I mean, I can't do that no more. I mean, I'm at the point, you don't know by now, champ, what we doing? Like, I'm going to be honest. We're doing everything else. We paying bills. We having kids.
But it's showing
like,
that
what else are we really doing?
There's more than the tri-state area. There's more than Miami. There's more than the United States of America. Right. So, you know, or not even that, is showing people that there's other parts of the world. So I have people, after I travel somewhere, oh, how was it? Like, where did you stay? How was the food? How was this? And then they go and have their own experience based off the content that I posted for myself.
Right.
So yes, I'm coming back for the youth, but also inspiring other people. Okay. And other people inspire me as well to, you know.
Plus the people you're meeting on these vacations too.
And then the people I'm meeting on vacation.
Because everybody, come on, everybody's building, everybody's talking. You know what I mean? It's like, it becomes universal. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the fact that who you are and what you're doing and the seeds that you're planting, it kind of fits your whole journey with the traveling. It has to be involved in your career, your life, because if not, it'd have been that little small space that wouldn't have been able to, it kind of
Absolutely.
it fits. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? I don't know the right word to say at
Yeah,
this
no,
moment,
I
but
get
if
it.
you understand where I'm coming from,
It
right?
does. And so to your point, 24, January of 2024, another one of my childhood best friends, she turned 40. We went to Jamaica.
Right.
And I made sure I created grief affirmation cards. I brought them with me and I was like, well, I'm gonna just get content. I was at the beach, taking pictures, all types of stuff. So like the entertainment staff there was like, oh, what are those cards? And I'm showing him. And he's like, wait, he was like, nah, men, we're not allowed to express our feelings. But the cards were hitting home and resonating with him. So to your point, I'm bringing my business
To it.
globally, internationally. Like I'm taking my business with me. And I wasn't even doing it just
To do that.
To do
You
that.
just
I
doing
was
what you
in my own moment, having my own, let me just get this content because it's the beautiful ocean is behind the card. I'm taking a picture and then we go back up to like our beach chairs and he's like, what is this? And I'm showing him and he's like, wow. So I'm like, Pray the Impossible is a household name. It is a household name.
Wow. It's a global name.
It's a global name.
It's a
Yeah.
big brand.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I respect about you is your confidence.
Oh,
And I don't want to hear that nonsense. Yo, I'm shy. I'm not buying that.
thank
And
you.
if you are, you're doing a hell of a job of covering up.
No, yeah.
You know, your confidence when you walk in the room, it gives that. I'm Brandi. I'm confident. I know who I am. I'm a child of God. I'm a warrior. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I walk by faith and not by sight. You know what I mean? It doesn't. You know what I mean? Because when people walk in the room, I'm an aura person. I like to feel the aura. I like to feel your energy. I'm an old school. I don't want to text all day. I want to talk to you. I want to understand you a little bit. Texting get lost behind words.
It does.
You know what I mean? You could sit. I could text you.
Right.
And you like, damn, I never really have a conversation with this guy, but he wants me to go on his platform.
Right. Yeah.
That's a little awkward. You know what I mean? That's weird. You know what I mean? He could be a jerk. So just those small little conversations having with you prior to this, I felt more and more when I'm seeing your content, watching you, everything just starts to make more. I'm adding more to my sandwich.
Okay.
Okay, I'm adding, okay. Oh, wow. All right. All right. The spiritual side of you is very touching. You know what I mean? And I admire that.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're not afraid. A lot of people are afraid to express who they are, or they doing stuff for a fad. I know a lot of people that's Muslim, and all of a sudden you Muslim now. Like,
Right.
stop it. Like this, like when Ramadan come, I see everybody. I'm like, hold up, champ.
And I
like,
laugh because I'm like,
champ, come on.
like
what
it's I'm like, y'all got y'all Ramadan Easter outfits on. Like everybody.
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and no disrespect to my
Right.
Muslim
Yeah,
brothers
yeah,
and
yeah.
sisters. I love y'all. I'm
Yeah.
not one denomination. I'm all, you know,
Right.
aspects of life. But it's like, let's stop trying to be a fad.
Right.
And let's do something that's real
What
and
are you
authentic.
doing? Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
what are you really doing? Are you doing it for the gram, or we really every day putting our mind focused on our Lord? Because in reality, we all serving the same God. It's different names. Jehovah
Right.
is Witness. It's,
Yep.
it's Rapha, the Creator. Like, it's all the same. But all right, what are you doing outside of the hype?
Right.
You know, I heard a brother say, I don't care what you do in church. I care what you do outside of the church. That's what
true.
hits more for
Yeah,
me.
absolutely. Because are you your integrity? Are you living by the word? Like we can sit here and quote scriptures all day, but if you're not letting the scripture work inside of you, and if you're not changing, if your character is still staying the same, like all of that, I go to church, okay. But I remember back in the day, like even I associated, if you go to church, you believed in God. But then when COVID hit and we weren't able to go to a physical church building, then what?
See?
So it's not the church building, going back to my point earlier, it's the relationship.
Yeah. I knew that a long time ago, though. I learned that from my father. You know what I mean? He used to sit in his little reading room and his books in there, from God knows when. And he just said, yo, the most important thing about the religion is yourself. He said, yo, I'm telling you this, son, once you get it within yourself, it's hard for anybody else to navigate you off that. You know what I mean? I got a book that I read. I don't know if you ever read it. It's called Conversations with God.
I heard of it. No, I have not read it.
Yo, I read it in the most darkest moment of my life. And I was in prison. I was in Bordentown lockup. My parents sent me a book. This is like 2000, because I bought the year 2000 in. But anyway, Yo, that book changed my whole. I read the book 17 times and bought it 4 more times once I came home. That conversation with God changed my whole outlook on my relationship with God. And my dad said, I asked him, I said, yo, what made you send me that book? He said, son, I had the book prior before you even went in. He said, yo, it just one night, I'm in my study room, and he said, yo, send this to him. Yo, that book saved my whole life. And I wasn't at a part where I was on some suicide. I was just
in a dark.
I was in a dark space. This is my first time in prison. And I'm doing 24/7. I'm in a room 24/7. I'm talking to my roommate through a vent. I go outside in the rain, sleet, snow, and I'm just out there with a sweatsuit on. But yo, during that time, I'm reading and I'm writing. And every time I go outside, it seemed like, yo, the weather would be bad. It's like the day that I have to go outside, it'll still be cold, but it won't be snowing. It won't be raining. It was like the Lord's like, all right, I'm going to bring you outside for a little bit. I'm going to let you get some of this fresh air. And I tell everybody, you should really dive into that book because it gives you a better perspective of Christ and God. It's not so much what people moderize it.
Right.
Go to church and big hats and wear your Easter outfit.
Right.
Man, what does that mean?
Right.
We dressing up.
Right. That's all the outward appearance.
It's a dress
at
up.
Our heart.
And a lot of half the people in church, heart is filthy. Let's just be clear. There's more nonsense going on inside the congregation than it is growth and healing. Let me ask you this, though. How important is your sorority sisters to you?
Oh, they are very important. Like, they are a part of my life. They are a part of me and my accomplishments. That's what I was saying earlier. You'll always hear me reference a sorority sister or my line sister because the network alone
endless.
Is crazy. But the amount of times that people think of me and mention my name in rooms that I haven't even walked in yet. My publisher for my book is my sorority sister. Who, like, how I got into the group home, my sorority sister. My line sister, that's my business bestie. My line sister, sorority sister, like, it is
it's endless. It's no ceiling on it.
Even more so, like, when my father passed away, like, they were there. I have different groups of friends. So my line sisters, they took care of one aspect of it. My other group of friends took care of another aspect. Like, we show up for each other. And I've been a Delta for 12 years. We've lost parents. Some of us have gotten divorced, had babies, marriages, masters, doctorates. We have experienced life together in 12 years. And that's just my line sisters. But even like within my chapter, they sent me things when my father passed, even like as a sorority on a whole, like just connecting, networking, and just mentioning my rooms. And even if it's not an opportunity at that time, they always say, well, I know someone else that you could possibly work with.
Pivot over here.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah, I respect that. What I want to ask you, what made you decide to join a sorority, though?
So growing up, I have 2 aunts who are AKAs. I remember when I was a little girl, they were like, oh, you're going to be AKA. I went to Virginia State, and I joined a mentorship program my freshman year. And I remember saying hi to the AKAs. They were like, said hi to the Deltas. They was like, oh, what's up? I was like, yeah, that's where I need to be. So that's where the shift. But I always knew sorority from my family.
Right. Yeah, that's fire, though. And I admire that. You know what I mean? I had asked my daughter when she was in school. She went to Lincoln.
Oh, okay.
She was like, nah. I was like, all right, cool. You know, I'm not a father to, yo, do this, do that.
Right, yeah.
You in school. That's enough for me.
Yes.
I don't care if you don't join nothing. Just join the graduation crew, which she did. Shout out to her. But, you know, I see that, you know, every time you always supporting them. Y'all always bigging up each other. Y'all always referencing each other. It's always big smiles, big hug. And I sit back from somebody that's never been a part of that. I'm big on love. And I see black women loving each other. I see black women embracing each other. I see black women uplifting each other. I see black women pushing for each other. And then it's like, wow, you know what I mean? That's dope. And then you sit back and you ask yourself, you know what? God is working in so many different rooms that you don't even realize it. I said, that's nothing but God right there. Even when I see my brothers with fraternities, I said, yo, y'all do what y'all do. I respect it. But it's that love. And God is love.
God is love.
You know what I mean? And without that, what are you? You empty. You know what I'm saying? Now, your journey through life, it's been a blessing. You know what I mean? You had some trials, tribulations. I understand what it is to lose a parent. I lost mine. That struggle, that direction. But I never questioned God when my mother left. I never questioned him. I tell people that all the time. You should never question him. Just realize it as, you know what, Father God, it's your. I gotta trust your plan. You know what I mean? But I feel like you kept your father's legacy and that flag waving even harder. Like I see it. Like it's not just sitting there. It's like this.
Yeah.
Because you daddy's little girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know because I got daughters.
Yeah.
So, and you know what I mean? And I strive to have do the best that I can do. But you know what I mean? So I see you waving that thing. It's like, yo, he's so proud of you. You know what I mean? He knows this what you were supposed to be. You know what I mean? And it's like, yo, he's telling you, like, B, she good. God got her.
Yep.
She's with the big homie.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna ask you a question though. 5 years from now, where's B at?
Ooh, 5 years from now. I see myself having my own family and creating the family structure that broke generational curses. I see myself traveling, pray the impossible, navigate the impossible is global. I'm hosting conferences, different workshops, retreats.
She said conferences. That's what's up.
I see myself absolutely still traveling, having a home with my family, and just continuing to be a child of God and just letting God, receiving all the blessings and things that God has for me. But that's where I see myself. Possibly maybe even having a center. I thought about that years ago, having a center.
Wow, that was another. I was going to ask you that.
Yeah. Having a center that's kind of like a one-stop shop. So you get your life coaching, you get your grief coaching, your spiritual coaching, you get these things for the children, things for family dynamics. Yeah.
That's fire, because at the end of the day is the things that you have already accomplished compared to things that you're naming, it's right there. It's not it's not like, yo, well, it's light at the tunnel. Nah,
Right.
I'm literally looking at the light. I'm about to go through another tunnel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? You in the next chapter of your career, your life, like, you know what I mean? And I never understood that. My pop said to me like a couple of months ago, he's like, yo, you're in another chapter in your life, son. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, yo, every time you evolve with God, it's just chapters that he's taking you through.
Yeah. The heights, the higher heights, the new dimensions, the new chapters. I'm excited about it. And that's why I said my word this year is living by faith, because I'm 40 and
Fabulous for it. Gorgeous for me. You know what I mean?
I'm proud to tell people I'm 40.
You should be.
I'm 40. And so this year, 40, I had to really go back and heal from places and spaces and things from the first 3 decades of my life. And so now I'm rebranding myself. I am rebuilding my foundation. I'm recalibrating myself, spirituality with God. And because who I was can't go on this next decade. Not to say that I was a bad person, but they were still refining.
You peeling.
And I'm peeling back those layers and to just continue to break those generational curses or those things that I learned as a child that I had to unlearn. I'm like,
unravel, unbox, figure it out.
Face those things, navigate the impossible. It's like, yeah, they can't, that at 40, no. So that's why I'm doing that. This chapter is doing the internal work so that 41 is up.
Yeah.
It's up.
Yeah.
It's up. So I got to go back to childlike faith, living by faith. Got to go back to that.
Yo, it's funny because I told somebody that. I said, yo, you got to go back sometimes and revisit certain things.
You got to go back.
You know what I mean? You got to revisit what happened. I had to do that. I went through something, you know what I mean, the past year. And like we said off camera, when you involved in something, you don't see a lot of things until you step up away from it. You sit back and you're like,
Right.
wow. Let me take accountability.
Take accountability.
I was the
Yes.
jerk right there. You know what I mean? Like I should have did this better. You know what I mean? And then it allows you to come to full service of who you are today because I feel like we don't unbox a lot of things.
We don't. We suppress. I can only speak for myself. You suppress it. You sweep it under the rug.
Push it to the side.
And push it to the side, and you just keep going. But then there comes a time when you about to crash, and you got to pause. You got to be still, and you got to reflect and unbox. Lift that rug up. Okay, we got to get this dirt from up under here.
Right.
And so for me, it's more so about my goal this year. I've always been nice. Like, oh, let me be nice. Let me be nice. I'm not a confrontational person. I don't like confrontation. But being nice, people are not respecting my boundaries.
And so I push you.
And you pushing me. And then when you push me and my scales tip, then it's
like, hold up, who's this? What the?
Right, like, now it's been a build up. So for me, it's like, we got to peel this layer back. And I need to set the boundary, and I want to be kind. Because in the Bible, God is kind. Nothing says nice. So I've been working on being kind, because you could still be kind and say no and respect your own boundaries. Right. As opposed to, like, I've always just been like, okay, how can I help you? How can I help you? Okay. Like, oh, if I don't help you, then you're going to be mad at me. Nah. So at 40, no.
I'm not wearing that. I'm not wearing that weight vest.
I'm not, because I'm not taking care of Brandi. I'm taking care of everybody else but me. So that's, to your question, I'm loving this chapter. I'm learning who I am. I'm stepping into who I am. I'm learning who I am, and I'm loving the woman that I am now. As you continue to get higher and grow, like, I'm loving her.
As you should, you know what I mean?
Loving her. I love 39-year-old Brandi, but her right here, 40-year-old, listen.
I mean, I'm the same way though, you know what I mean? I'm loving the 50, you know what I mean? And I'm approaching 51, it's like, I'm loving that.
Yeah.
49 was cool, 48 was, you know what I mean? Like, those are great times, but as you move to another chapter, what have we learned from those other chapters that's going to elevate us even a lot more faster?
And one of my favorite scriptures that God says is, what lies ahead is far better than what's been. Forget the former things. That can't compare to what I'm getting ready to do. So what he did at 39, I thought it was 40 came. I'm like, oh,
it's a whole nother level.
So I can only imagine what he's doing at 41. So that's why I'm like in this space of going back to childlike faith and remembering my favorite scriptures where he's doing a new thing. Let him do a new thing, mentally, physically, your mindset, emotionally, spiritually. So I'm loving this new chapter.
As you should, and I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
And I'm rooting for you, and I will continue to keep rooting for you, because what you're doing for so many different people, your energy is radiant. You know what I mean? It's unique. We live in a time where we need to be around people that, okay, there go my girl. There go my, I'm excited to see it, because she's going to, sometimes we need, when you got good energy, you want to pull that from other people. Yeah. You know, listen, don't bring her around me.
Right.
Don't, girl, you going out with her tonight? I'm going to fall back, playboy. I'm not, you going with him? I'm cool tonight. It's like that crew, I can go out with them. And then, I'm not going out with you. So it's good to feel that. And I'm so happy for the opportunity that you give me to sit down with you, to chop it up with you. We going to do it again.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because I need people to understand that, it's okay to be who you are in Christ. And I'm telling the culture that, you got this beautiful young lady that's traveling, enjoying life, but she's keeping God first at all times, and she's not afraid to let the culture know that, because we live in a society where you want to act like this and act like that, or we dealing with a fad, and you're not. Like this, your purpose, your journey is love. You know what I mean? I'm going to ask you a small question for my brothers that's maybe watching this. They're going to say, well, would you marry someone that's not of God?
No.
Okay.
I cannot. I cannot. God won't even let me. God won't even let.
What about if you had to lead him?
I've been there, done that, and God separated that. But I know my purpose and the anointing and the favor on my life. God is not going to allow me to be with just anyone, and God will hide me so that people can't see me. And I need someone who is going to be able to cover me and protect me. So at this stage in my life, no, I cannot be with someone who is not of God. I cannot.
But he doesn't have to be a brother that's going to church. He's just a man of God.
He has to be a man of God.
Right.
He has to have
That's why I
his
said a
own.
man of God. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
important.
this is a difference
It's
between
a-
someone who believes in
God
God
and a man of God.
and I'm gonna take it even further. There's a difference between someone who believes in God, someone who knows God, and someone who is a child of God.
And someone who's walking.
And someone who's walking with God. It's layers and it's a process, but someone who does not have God, know God, no, I cannot.
I respect that. You know what I mean?
cannot.
The only reason why I threw that out there because you said getting married. So and I just said when you said that, because I'd be curious, because some people say, well, women. I'm not gonna say all women. I'm not putting nobody in the box. Sometimes you had the mind state, well, I can change him. I can help him. You know what I mean? He's a good guy. He's a great guy.
What they say, he's a good man, Savannah.
Right. He's a good man. I think if I put my 1-2,
You know what?
I respect the fact that you said.
No, because I've been in relationships and men in my life, family members, where I've tried to fix them. God didn't call me to fix you. He called me to help you. And that's a difference. And I didn't learn that till later on in life. I'm not here to fix you. And so I've tried to build you up and do all the things. And that's draining. That's not my purpose.
Takes away from you.
Takes away from me. That's not my calling. And then now I'm wrapped up in trying to get you together, not knowing my purpose and doing what God's telling me to do. So no.
I read something. It says, today, let it be the death of your distractions. Let death be the distractions. You ever realize how distracting things can be at times?
Yes.
Like when you in that zone.
Yes.
You ever those little small hold up, man.
Yes.
He's always trying to tug her and pull, and I say this because when that's going on, that means you really at the end of your race. You about to go to the next level. It's just that little trial and tribulation that you may see or may try to attack you or take you off, man. I respect the fact that you focus like that. I admire that, and you stand on that.
Yeah.
You stand on that. You know what I mean? And that's dope. You know what I mean? Listen, I don't even know what to say about this one. This was a blessing. Listen, this was all just God right now. You know what I mean? This was all God's timing. The opportunity to sit down with this young lady is a blessing. I'm the voice of the culture. It's Miss B, the great, the goddess. She's doing it all. Let the people know where they can find you at. If they want to reach out to you with, just give people where they, get in contact with you at. Because we all need that little grief coaching, life coaching, spiritual coaching.
All of the above, right? So you can find me on Instagram at Pray the Impossible, Facebook Pray the Impossible, TikTok, across all platforms, Pray the Impossible. My website is www.praytheimpossible.com. I do offer free 30-minute introductory sessions to spiritual life and grief coaching. So you can go on my website and schedule your free 30-minute call today. And I do have events coming up, so you can find out about that. I'm doing a men's wellness event with my nonprofit, Blessed by Brandi Incorporated, to celebrate and honor men and fathers. So you can find that at Blessed by Brandi on Instagram. And that's it. I have great things. So I have books, I have candles, anything you need that will help guide you on your journey. You can go on my website.
You bring some books?
I do have some books. Would you like to see what the books look like?
Yeah, let the people see that before we get out of here. We don't want to put anything to waste.
Yes. Thank you. So, all right. So this is my first book, Real Talk, A Conversation from My Heart to Yours. That's a 30-day devotional. This is my second book, My Way or God's Will, The Choice is Yours. This is my third book, My Greatest Loss Turned into a Purposeful Win. What else I got in here for the people? These are the grief affirmation cards that I was telling you about.
Right.
So
that's fire.
What I do is I'll show you this way first. So this is the front of the card, and then the back of the card is a grief affirmation, and then it gives you an activity. So we're gonna do something. I'm gonna let you pick.
All right.
I'm gonna let you pick a card.
I'm supposed to read the card. What am I supposed to do?
Just read it. You can pick. All right. What does that say?
There's new life after death, no death lost. Activity, choose your eye, close your eyes, take a moment to envision your new life. Wow. This is I'm gonna do another one.
Okay, go ahead. Pick. You can take from the top.
Yeah. After every storm, new beginnings are birthed. This is a setup. My activity is to sit for 10 minutes and envision a new beginning.
Wasn't we just talking about new chapters?
I'm done here. I don't even know where to go with that, because that's just God doing what he do. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And before I get out of here, it's funny that we talked about that, because my father sent me something in 2024, and it says, keep the faith, my son, keep the faith. Sit still. It's a setup for something God greater to happen for you. Sit still, and listen. I read this every day with my devotions. Sit still and listen.
Sit still and listen.
That's the biggest. Listen, this is the voice of the culture. Miss B, we're going to do it again, because we can chop it up for days.
Right.
We can go on a whole nother level. But it's the voice, man. And I'm just doing what we do. And like I said, you know what it is, man. It's the Hush Boutique Round Table. I'm out of here. 1.